Well, you are very cheerful, very happy. So please say something. The Expedition 38 and 39 prime crew is ready for final qualification exams on the Russian segment of the International Space Station. Do you confirm? Yes.
Okay.
Do you have pens here? Yes, here are the pens. Take one and please sign. Please put the date. You should have put something in Japanese. Please sign it. You see, you would have gotten 1 point for that. Well, thank you. Thank you.
For Rick Mastracchio for NASA TV, you have reached the final home stretch of your preparations and training for flight. How significant are these final qualification exams, and what is your level of excitement as you prepare for your mission?
Well, of course, as we get closer and closer to launch, I get more and more excited, and I think we're more than ready to go. These last few exams are a great way just to finish polishing all the years of training that we had.
そうですね、今日は最終的なおさらいの訓練、試験ですので、これまで2年半にわたって学んできたこと、チームとして学んできたことをここで活かせればなというふうに思っています。そうですね、打ち上げまで約3週間、近づいてきているなという感じで、緊張しながらいい意味でのね、緊張感を維持して、訓練に臨めていると思います。
What about the Olympic torch? How did you prepare for that? To take it to orbit? Well, we did not prepare in any special way. We did not put any special effort into this in terms of the method or procedure of how to perform those actions. We prepared psychologically, though, because not only it is important to do the action, but it is a symbol, and you have to feel something about it. No, it's not difficult. It's very interesting. It's a constant cultural exchange and mutual enrichment that we are going through. What are you going to do at the station? Well, that's a very broad question. We'll be working. That's our main goal. Beside the Olympic torch, are you going to do anything interesting? Well, how shall I put it? I don't want to say anything negative at this point. It's actually the Olympic torch beside everything else, not everything else beside the Olympic torch.
Koichi Wakata, it's been more than actually 4 years since you've been up to the International Space Station. How much are you looking forward to getting back up to your home in space?
Well, this time it's going to be a little longer duration of stay compared to my previous flight, and then there are new modules already here, and then especially Cupola. I'm very much looking forward to looking at the beautiful home planet through the window. So there are new things I've never seen before, so I'm very much looking forward to this.
若田さん、すみません、船長としての任務について改めてどういう意欲ですか？
そうですね、半年間にわたる、軌道上での作業の後半でその船長も担当しますけれども、やはりチームワークを保つために、クルー間、それから各ミッションコントロールセンターの皆さんとの、コミュニケーションをしっかりとって宇宙ステーションの利用の成果を最大限に出せるように頑張りたいなというふうに思います。
What about the backup crew? Are they ready? Yes, 100%. We are 100% interchangeable. They can replace us anytime. Well, how are the crews selected? Well, there is a special procedure for that, and it's been working. It's a very complex procedure. I don't think I should be doing it right now. It's something that's been going on for a long time. Well, thank you very much.
Спасибо.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for great questions.
We начнем нашу работу по формату 4.
We are very interested in the Olympic torch, and where did the idea to take it to orbit come from? Well, this has been a decision by the Olympic Committee. There is a special committee that deals with the scenario of the Olympic relay. And we've been approached with that idea to take the Olympic torch into space. And just to be sure that you understand, please understand there will be no open fire either on the station or in outer space. What about the backup crew? Well, our crew member already answered your question. They are 100% interchangeable and they can step in anytime. The selection of crew is done based on the readiness of crew members. Some people have already been very well prepared. They have already been to the station. They understand the timeline. And they are selected based on how well they are ready. So when this current crew was formed, they were formed together with the backup crew. And we kind of hope that they will fly on time. But just in case something happens, the backup crew can step in. Basically until the very last moment when the crew don their spacesuits, get on the bus, and come to the rocket. And so the backup crew will return back after they get to the launch pad. Right now we are preparing for the final exam of crew training on the Russian segment of the International Space Station. We are working on procedures with the Mission Control Center, with making sure the crew knows how to respond to off-nominal situations. Is it the first time that a Japanese citizen is a crew commander? I do know Koichi for a long time. We met more than 20 years ago when Vladimir Titov and I came to the United States to prepare to our shuttle flight. And at that time, Koichi was one of the international astronauts selected. So we've been friends for a long time. It's not his first mission, and I'm sure he's a professional astronaut and will tackle whatever issues he might have. This is not a very common flight because the crew will be on board the station for a long time. Well, it's not the first time it's going on. It's a direct rotation, as we call it. Once we've started having 6 crew members on board, the most important part of rotation is called indirect rotation. It's that the new crew arrives, and then sometime after the crew that was on board the station before leaves. We are trying to make sure that not too many people remain on board at any given point of time. Because of the Olympic torch, we had to change the timeline for crew departure. This time it will be a direct rotation, and for some time we will have 9 people aboard the station. But please understand, this is not uncommon. We had that before, and we actually had more people on the station, or when shuttles were flying. We had situations where we had 6 crew members for the station and plus the shuttle crew. So this is just for rotation of Soyuz vehicles and for the Olympic torch. And what will that torch be like? Well, it will be a very similar torch to what you have on the ground. You know that there's been many Olympic torches manufactured. This specific torch will be exact same as the one on the ground, but it will not contain any fire, any flame. So most probably this torch will be used during that relay on the ground. But right now it is planned to we are planning to deliver it to the station and then send it back. Like Mikhail Tyurin told you before, we did not have to prepare in any special way for that. But once we saw the mock-up of that torch, we worked a lot with that. We kind of had to outfit the torch itself in order to secure it for space use. We had to put a fixture so that we could secure it in space. Will there be any imitation of the open fire? Well, what's the use for that? You know, there cannot be any open fire in space, so why should we deceive people? The fire that had been lit in Greece is now traveling en route, but we are not planning any open fire in space. The torch is pretty light. It did not have to be modified for space flight in any special way. The only thing what I meant is what I mentioned about the bracket to secure it. I cannot answer that question. And what is that safety fixture that you installed? Well, this is a ring, a safety ring, that a clap will clap onto, because it is kind of hard to hold the torch in the spacesuit glove. So that's why everything has those rings, the safety rings, just in case the crew member, the EVA crew member, drops the torch, because sometimes they will need to hold on to the safety railings and not hold on to the torch itself. In this case, the torch must be secured and tethered. It can be either tethered to the spacesuit or to the rails that are installed on the station hull. This will depend on the procedure. I hope it will be a beautiful ceremony. I don't know the exact timeline. The Olympic Committee has been working on it. But the meaning of this ceremony is that the crew delivers the torch on board the station, and the crew that are already on board will be doing the EVA a spacewalk with the torch, and so that torch will be flying around the Earth while in outer space. And then Fyodor Yurchikhin will be flying back on the 11th, and on the 11th the torch will be brought back to the ground after it had orbited the station for several times. I think that it will be a separate scenario for the flight, and most probably the torch will be handled inside the station as well, and there probably will be a handover ceremony from one crew to the next, but you'll see it when we get to that point. Chairman of the examination committee, the crew of ISS 38 and 39 expedition is ready for the certification examination on the Russian segment.
Хотел в прошлый раз поработать. Я думаю, как-то так, да? Одну секунду.
Just a second.
いよいよ最後の試験となりました。どういうお気持ちですか？
そうですね、最後の試験なので、きちんと、みんなでチームワークを取っていい仕事ができるように頑張りたいなというふうに思います。
For NASA TV, for both Rick and Koichi, you're both veterans of multiple spaceflight and space shuttle missions to the International Space Station. How are you looking forward to flying up to the space station on the Soyuz vehicle, and what are some of the differences in training and the challenges for you both?
I guess I could take a shot at that. Yeah, I've flown on the space shuttle several times. Of course, it was in a great vehicle, but it's interesting to have the opportunity to fly on a different vehicle. I've really enjoyed the training here in Star City, and I'm looking forward to a great mission.
Yeah, Echo Rick flew on the shuttle up and down before, but this is my first time to actually launch and land on a Soyuz spacecraft. So it's a new challenge for me, and I very much look forward to this new experience.
This question could be addressed to me also, because I also took part in flight in shuttle flights. Thank you.
And for you, Mikhail, this will be the first single day of rendezvous to the space station. So what are you looking forward to in terms of the differences from just the 2-day rendezvous versus the 1-day rendezvous?
I don't think there is a big difference in comparison, but as everything new, it is exciting. Just to test it.
Mikhail, it's your second day of training. How can you evaluate the first day of your eval training? Was it difficult on the Russian segment, or is it going to be more difficult today? I wouldn't be comparing those days. Each one of them is dedicated to an important part of the program. So both days are equally hard and equally challenging. Yes, I'm very happy with the work we've been doing. We are very happy with the interaction of the crew and also with the flight control team on the ground. We realize that we do understand each other very well, and we are backing each other up. Thank you very much. Let's go. Thank you very much.
Suni Williams, veteran NASA astronaut and now the director of the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center here in Star City, Russia. Suni, right behind you inside that Soyuz Commander are astronauts Reid, Koichi, Wakata, and Mikhail Tyurin preparing for their mission. And just a little over a year ago, you yourself were taking those Soyuz qualification exams preparing for your flight. Can you tell us what's going on in that Soyuz right now and how the crew is getting ready for their mission?
Sure. This is a very important stage of the training. What they're going through is the whole launch day, rendezvous day, and then undocking and landing day. It's going to take 8 hours, which in real life would take, of course, 6 hours to get to the station, and then after undocking, another 4 hours to get back to the Earth. So it's slightly compressed, but it is really a summary of all the critical dynamic operations that the Soyuz will perform going up to the station and then coming back home to Earth.
And lastly, Suni, you've been there and done that. How would you compare the fidelity of the Soyuz map and these tests to the real thing?
Actually, it's pretty darn close. You know, we do training like this and training in a hydro lab or the neutral buoyancy lab for spacewalks. We do robotic training on a computer, and all of those elements of training are very realistic and really get you ready so that you're feeling when you're going through this critical operations like you've done this before, and you're not necessarily nervous like, oh, I've never seen this before. So it's really good, and this is great training that these guys are going through right now. And you know, my comment to them as they were getting ready was have fun, because if they can start to imagine what it's really going to be like when you're riding on a rocket. It's a lot of fun.
Well, is there somebody shaking your hand? Stop that. Dear Chairman of the committee, the backup crew is ready to take the test. Good job. Yeah, the pen is working. Max, can you smile? Give us a smile. And let's hold hands. Well, I guess we can leave now because the commission members have stepped out.
Yeah. In the middle.
Факел в прошлый раз пропал.いよいよ最後の試験となりました。どういうお気持ちですか？
そうですね、最後の試験なので、きちんと、みんなでチームワークを取っていい仕事ができるように頑張りたいなというふうに思います。
For NASA TV, for both Rick and Koichi, you're both veterans of multiple spaceflight and space shuttle missions to the International Space Station. How are you looking forward to flying up to the space station on the Soyuz vehicle, and what are some of the differences in training and the challenges for you both?
I guess I could take a shot at that. Yeah, I've flown on the space shuttle several times. Of course, it was a great vehicle, but it's interesting to have the opportunity to fly on a different vehicle. I've really enjoyed the training here in Star City, and I'm looking forward to a great mission.
Yeah, echo Rick. Flew on the shuttle up and down before, but this is my first time to actually launch and land on a Soyuz spacecraft. So it's a new challenge for me, and I very much look forward to this new experience.
This question could be addressed to me also, because I also took part in flight in shuttle flights. Thank you.
And for you, Mikhail, this will be the first single day rendezvous to the space station. So what are you looking forward to in terms of the differences from just the 2-day rendezvous versus the 1-day rendezvous?
I don't think there is a big difference in comparison, but as everything new, it is exciting. Just to test it.
Mikhail, it's your second day of evaluation training. How can you assess the first day? Was the first day more difficult than today? I wouldn't be comparing them. Both days are complex and very challenging, and both days are dedicated to separate elements and parts of the program. Both are very important and very challenging. Are you happy with the results? Yes, of course. In two ways, for sure. First of all, it's the interaction of the crew, and second of all is our interaction with the flight control team. We've learned that we really understand each other well and that we are ready to step in any time for each other. Thank you.
Suni Williams, veteran NASA astronaut and now the director of the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center here in Star City, Russia. Suni, right behind you inside that Soyuz Commander are astronauts Reid, Mastracchio, Koichi, Wakata, and Mikhail Tyurin preparing for their mission. And just a little over a year ago, you yourself were taking those Soyuz qualification exams preparing for your flight. Can you tell us what's going on in that Soyuz right now and how the crew is getting ready for the mission?
Sure. This is a very important stage of the training. What they're going through is the whole launch day, rendezvous day, and then undocking and landing day. It's going to take 8 hours, which in real life would take, of course, 6 hours to get to the station, and then after undocking, another 4 hours to get back to the Earth. So it's slightly compressed, but it is really a summary of all the critical dynamic operations that the Soyuz will perform going up to the station and then coming back home to Earth.
And lastly, Suni, you've been there and done that. How would you compare the fidelity of the Soyuz map and these tests to the real thing?
Actually, it's pretty darn close. You know, we do training like this and training in a hydro lab or the neutral buoyancy lab for spacewalks. We do robotic training on a computer, and all of those elements of training are very realistic and really get you ready so that you're feeling when you're going through this critical operations like you've done this before and you're not necessarily nervous like, oh, I've never seen this before. So it's really good, and this is great training that these guys are going through right now. And, you know, my comment to them as they were getting ready was have fun, because if they can start to imagine what it's really going to be like when you're riding on a rocket, it's a lot of fun.